Welcome back to the Council Gardener, and this month on the Council Gardener we'll be visiting the arboricultural team at Aberdeen State Council to find out what their role is. And also we're at Johnston Gardens and we'll be meeting the Friends and finding out why it's so important for a Friends group to be involved. One of the biggest issues that the arboricultural team in Aberdeen deal with is Dutch elm disease. It's a massive problem now, with over 500 reported cases of Dutch elm disease in the trees in Aberdeen. That equates to 2 years' work for that team. That's without storm damage or other works that they're doing. It's a terrible disease that really kicked off in the 1970s and travelled right through the country. So what is Dutch elm disease? Well, Dutch elm disease is a fungus disease that only affects elms. It's only called Dutch because the scientists that did the research on it were from Holland. The actual origin isn't really known where it came from. And the real problem with Dutch elm disease is the fungus tricks the tree into stop it bringing up water, so it slowly kills the tree. And the problem why it's so widespread is that the bug or beetle, Scolotus scolotus, which is a bark-eating beetle, burrows into the wood and eats the bark. But the problem is, if the tree's infected by the fungus disease, the beetle then gets covered in that disease. And so when it comes back out and it goes to the next tree to eat bark, it actually transfers the disease from one tree to the next tree. And there's no stopping this disease. There was 5 parts of UK that they tried systemical problems to stop it, but they're now shown to be getting attacked by the beetle now, further on later down the line. And what happens is, you've cut the roots away, you get rid of the tree and dispose of it properly, because it's just going to attack more and more elms. And Great Britain has lost a lot of great trees because of this disease. And this is the result of Dutch elm disease. The bark peels away, the tree is completely dead and dried out. You can actually rock this tree, even though it's a massive tree, because it's lost all support at the bottom, so it's bringing in no nutrients. Another telltale sign is this coloured silvery black disease looking on the inside of the bark if you were to pull it away. And that's what's happened here, that it's got Dutch elm. Another one will be the branches have actually crooked, and they're called shepherd's crooks, and that's another sign. Or in midsummer, the leaves of the elm tree will instantly turn yellow and sometimes black. That's an early sign that it's got Dutch elm disease and it's stopping the nutrients being brought up to the leaves. And the biggest issue with the problem is there's no systemic problem to actually deal with it. You can't deal with it. You have to just get rid of the tree. And there's that many trees that has to be a health and safety issue to the public in open spaces or parks or other before the team can actually deal with it. Because if they were to, it would be 2 years that they can deal with anything else. And luckily enough today we'll be at Katie Brewster School with the arboricultural team, where they'll be removing some of the dead, diseased and dying trees, especially the dead Dutch elm disease trees in the school grounds. And as you can hear, it's very noisy when they're working here. Cutting trees is actually quite a difficult job, and especially on this site here today, where this is quite a compact site. They're going to have to climb some of the trees to dismember them there and then remove the timber off site. And to do this you have to be a very skilled operator. You have to do a lot of different training, climbing, cutting, and also a lot of health and safety aspects have to be really well considered when doing this. So now they've cut this big bit of timber, the guys here have cut it in so that it could be a balance beam or a bench for the kids. Some of the smaller timber that they collect is actually chipped, and the wood chippings that are collected are used in Aberdeen City Schools and around beds in Aberdeen. So everything is totally recycled. So luckily enough today I'm joined by Steve Robertson, who's the chairman of the Friends of Johnston Gardens, and we're doing a bit of work to the roses out here. So what's it like being a Friends of Johnston Gardens, Steve?
Well, it's interesting, and in a way it's hard work because it's trying to get volunteers to come along with us. Yeah. But the wonderful thing is the gardens that are like a time warp. They've been on the go for so many years. They are so attractive to all ages.
Yeah, Johnston Gardens is beautiful.
Children, older people, dog walkers, cyclists.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be involved, and it's nice to be able to contribute.
I used to live in the local area, and when my children were little, I used to pram push around Johnston Gardens. So when I heard that there was a friends group starting up, and I actually hadn't been in the gardens for some considerable time, I decided to go along and see what was involved. And I have to say, I get great satisfaction out of revisiting the gardens, which are a beautiful part of Aberdeen, and giving a bit of help to keep them in good condition.
So one of the things you could be doing at this time of year to your roses is taking off some of the excess weight. Because with roses, if with all the growth they've had this year, if they get wind over the winter, they'll get wind rot. And wind rot is when the plant moves from side to side, and at the crown and at the base, it actually snaps underneath from the root itself. So you won't actually know it's dead until next year. So what you do is you just come in and you just take off some of the excess growth that it's had from this year, not to be too worried about going to buds or roots or anything like that. So all you're doing is just taking the weight down so the plant doesn't get disturbed with the wind. How did the Friends group come about?
It's about 3 years ago. It was suggested actually by a councillor. And a lot of us that are volunteers either played here as children, as I did, or they pushed prams, as other people did. You know, so it's extending the life of the gardens in terms of each individual.
So what sort of things do you and the Friends volunteer and do within the Crown?
We do various jobs, like planting bulbs. We clear leaves. You know, so there are a variety of things to do.
Yeah, so it's all year, isn't it? It's not just a one-off sort of thing. You know, it's a constant working together to make things better for everyone. So.
It is.
So obviously you received a Keep Scotland Beautiful award as well, haven't you?
That's right. We got the It's Your Neighbourhood Group award, and we also got the Green Flag. And that's 2 years running.
2 years running. So obviously the park's moving in the right direction, and I'd just like to thank you for the work that you do and to keep the goal moving forward all the time.
Not at all. It's a most enjoyable task.
Yeah, that's it. Friends groups are really important, as they're a group of people who are passionate about their green space or park or area next to them, and they work together with Aberdeen City Council to improve that area by volunteering, either by litter picking, planting bulbs or doing anything. What it does is working in partnership strives to make the city better, and that's what it's all about, city pride at the end of the day. Thanks everyone for watching, and that's the end of this month. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's contributed and helped the feedback for Council Gardener for the season 1. And this is the time for you to enjoy yourself over Christmas. And I'll see you all in the garden next year. And remember, gardening's all about growing, so let's grow together.